So Season 6 is here with two brand new weapons to level, namely the Val and the R208. And I thought it would be interesting to just look at a way in which I have been sort of power leveling my guns, and I didn't just do it with these two. It's something that I've been doing for a while, and essentially it involves. I mean, I do it solo, but I've also done it in groups before. Groups definitely makes it better, but it's basically just mission farming essentially. It was nerfed a while back where the cumulative missions would just continue on stacking and it would just be fucking nuts. It would be so fucking broken if that was still this way, but now it's sort of, capped. You get 500 gun XP per completing one of these quests or missions. And when you're in overtime, because the mode that we're going to be doing it in is plunder, when you're in overtime, then it gives you 750 weapon XP. Okay, but first and foremost, I mean, whether this is for you or not, the point here is that bar none, the best or the fastest way to level a weapon is double weapon XP and then doing something like shipment. Not something like shipment exactly. You can just, rack up a shitload of kills, and what you're looking for is 5 kills in a row or 10 kills in a row if you can get that high, because then you get that, kill multiplier essentially. And so I did a large amount of my guns I did that way when Shipment was a couple of seasons back. I think it was season 2 or something like that. Shipment was on for a whole 20 a week, and I just constantly just basically spammed Shipment, and at that stage I had leveled all the guns there. But since then, obviously, I've got a group that I regularly play plunder with. Sometimes we play Warzone, but it's mostly plunder. And so plunder is generally a decent way to level a weapon. But you see, the issue is it's always if you want to level the gun that then you have to be killing people with that gun. So you either need to drop them with another gun and then get the final kill, or if you have enough attachments, or if you're good enough, then you can just basically hit them with that gun. But as I said, let's agree that Shipment with a fucking weapon XP multiplier, or what do you call it, token, so is the best. But in cases like, for instance, now at this moment when it's not available, so Shipment isn't available right now, and you could get it in the rotation, but I mean, that's more like a fucking gamble that you get it. And I just feel like this method makes normally playing, unless you're some 4.5 5 KDA fuck beast that's basically killing 40-50 players a game, then this method that I'm going to show you now is by far, I think, less stressful, because you don't have to be so fucking sweaty. But also, on the other hand, it's actually quite good with the gains, if I can put it that way. So the bottom line here is, as I said, you can do this without having a double weapon XP token, but definitely it helps. So if you got them spare, use them before doing this method. But as I said, this revolves around plunders. You can do this in groups. Doing it in groups basically makes it a lot better. It requires a bit more coordination between you and the other guys that are doing it. So I mean, everybody kind of has to be doing this method. You can't have one guy that's like actually playing plunder and trying to fucking win, and everybody else doing this. But like I said, I do it myself. And it works just fine. Except for the fact that it's plunder and that a double XP token helps here. I also just thought that maybe we could just look at the loadout. So the loadout here that I generally run with is obviously the gun that you're trying to level. So here you can see I'm almost done with the R208. My Val is done completely. I finished it this afternoon. Generally speaking, the perk loadout that you want to have is you want to have cold-blooded, ghost, and then the third perk is kind of like is up in the air. If it's important for you to have two lethals or something like that, or if you want to be able to spot track the guys if they're close to you, or maybe if somebody flashes you or something. But generally speaking, this method, which you'll see in some of the clips that I've recorded, is basically about avoiding combat. So you're just trying to race from quest to quest to quest, or mission to mission to mission. Sorry, I keep saying quest. And that's basically how you're going to do it. So the reasons is here obviously cold-blooded, so that you don't get hit. So it's plunder. So you have the helicopters that come in halfway through a match, and at the end of the match, these can shoot you and reveal your position. So cold-blooded keeps those from basically shooting you. You also, I mean, as a moot point, you don't get seen by thermal optics and things like that. But I mean, that's not really a problem. Ghost is pretty decent because you will not be spotted by things like UAVs and heartbeat sensors. So as you're moving around, and inevitably, sometimes guys will sort of see that you're racing through an area or something like that, and they'll lock onto you and they'll want to grief you or fuck with you. So this just helps you disappear. And the reason why I run amped is, of course, because my secondary that I run with is the RPG. So that just allows you to reload the RPG quicker, but also swap to the RPG quicker to shoot. The reason here being that I have an RPG is it gives you that first line defense if somebody's trying to pressure you with a car or something like that, or you know, racing you down or something like that. You can hit them with the rocket. That's the same reason why I have the C4. I used to run, you know, mines or something like that to sort of just drop them as you're moving through an area to slow people down or fuck with them or whatever. But I mean, you just get more you know, mileage out of the C4. And then lastly, the stun grenade. It's usually for me between stuns or flashes. So, you know, it's dealer's choice. It depends which one you think is more debilitating. I used to always believe that flash was the way to go, but recently, I mean, I fucking hate stuns, so, you know, why wouldn't I use it? It's fucking terrible. I mean, you're locked down for like 8 seconds, so, yeah. All right, so then that's basically it, as I mentioned, and then your field upgrade doesn't matter so much. I really prefer running dead silence, and you'll see in some of the clips, if I have footage of it, that in some cases that can also help you get the fuck out of an area if somebody's pushing you down. But yeah, I would say run dead silence. But you could also, I mean, you've got some options here. You could run a trophy system and put it on your vehicle or something like that when you're moving around, which covers you for that. Or tactical insertion if that's like your sort of thing. But tactical insertion is not going to work because if you're solo, it's not really going to matter. But anyway. Okay. So as I said, that was the loadout, and we're going to do plunder and double weapon XP definitely. Double XP doesn't help because the game essentially has 3 different tracks for XP. So there's double XP, which affects your account level and that kind of experience. Then there's double weapon XP, which is experience points for your weapons, but it's not affecting any of the other ones. And lastly, there's also double XP for the battle pass, which is also a thing. So sometimes on weekends they'll have all 3 of them active. That's why double XP doesn't necessarily translate to double battle pass XP, or not necessarily, it doesn't at all. And likewise for weapons. So what you're looking for is double weapon XP. So don't chow down a bunch of double XP tokens and think that's gonna work. So, I mean, it's not some Illuminati shit or anything like that, but essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to be chaining as many of the supply run missions as you can together. Supply run mission types is one where you pick up the mission icon and then you have a set limit of time that you can make it to a buy station. And if you do it in that time, then it gives you some discount on the buy station. But more importantly, it finishes the mission. And amongst the other things that it gives you 500 weapon XP, which is what you're after. So as I've mentioned, that then means that if you've got double weapon XP, it means that every time you finish one of these, you're going to get 1,000 weapon XP. And we're going to do the tallies just now to see how that works out, but basically that's it. Now, firstly, just some basic strategy here. There's no fixed deployment of these supply runs, so sometimes you'll find that, you know, I've had games where the northern hemisphere had like a shitload and the southern not so much or so, but I mean, it's something you have to check out every time at the beginning. The idea here being that you wanna drop, get a car, and then basically start on your run. Any vehicle is good except a fucking truck, because truck is too long. So what you want is a 4-wheeler, a fucking buggy, or a Jeep. All of those work, right? So it's Jeep, I mean Land Rover, I guess is whatever, but you know what I mean. So helicopter when you're solo is also not that great, because the point is, you'll notice during these clips that you only have to be in close proximity to the buy box to complete the quest. You'll see it's a little radiating circle, but you'll notice that I actually stop my vehicle, get out, and run towards it. Remember that when you finish the quest, it's the weapon that you're holding at the moment when you finish it that gets the XP. So I've found in the past that by staying in the vehicle, sometimes it counts to the weapon, sometimes it doesn't. And with things being the way that it is right now with the fucking game, like I'm just not taking any chances. I'm getting out and I'm getting it. So yeah, that's why you can see that the helicopter is not really practical, because you'd have to fucking land, get up, blah, 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 and you're just attracting way too much attention, and people are gonna, come to first you. One last thing is, there are certain areas of the map that I kind of like try to avoid going to, because you're bound to run into some camping fuck sitting on a tower, or basically, you know, massive gunfights, and just you driving in there with a fucking vehicle is like a beacon going, hey, you know, just take me, and take my money, and don't call me in the morning. So generally speaking, those areas that I'm referring to is and again, I hate to throw another fucking wrench in the works here, but it also depends the way that the map lands in. So generally speaking, like if it goes across like this, for instance, you are gonna get a bunch of guys that are gonna jump out at quarry, and so that's, no matter how many of those fucking missions there are there, or how badly you want a vehicle from there, it's just not a good idea to drop in there. Because remember, now you've taken your double weapon XP fucking buff, you want to maximize that time as much as possible. Each game of plunder runs for about 10 minutes, so depending on how fucking thirsty the people on your server are, and what your skill-based matchmaking is at, your games could take a little bit longer. I've had some plunder games last up to 20 minutes, but that's kind of rare. Generally the sweet spot somewhere between 8 and 11 minutes, so you need to maximize those 8 to 11 minutes to its maximum potential. And also if you're taking a half an hour fucking double weapon XP buff, then you can get almost 3 games out of that, essentially. So we're also trying to min-max that shit. Last fucking thing before we go in is, as I was saying, your going in zone determines a lot of this as well, but definitely areas to avoid, generally speaking, is downtown for fucking sure. Stay the fuck away from prison. Military base tends to be quite bad as well, and then of course the old fucking favorite, basically storage town and superstore connected with that no man's land in the middle there. So just don't go fucking around there. That's sniper fodder, or you're just constantly gonna have guys dropping in from the top, and some of them will have rocket launchers as their secondaries, and they'll just rain rockets on you. And you're not trying to get frustrated here. But okay, so you'll notice right off the bat here, what I'm doing is I'm looking in and I'm looking at some of the areas, and I'm trying to find the supply run icon. So the supply run icon is this little stopwatch. I'm also trying to see that I'm not too close to the general path of the the plane, and then I'm trying to sort of find a vehicle. Now, if I remember correctly with this one, I end up actually jumping a little bit closer, and then essentially just jumping a vehicle and getting the hell out. Okay, so no, this one you'll see that I'm actually quite a distance away from the plane, and so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wait, and I'm actually just gonna jump out here and start my drift. I could have waited more sort of for that to do a lateral jump across like that and get it, or I could have gone like what I'm doing here. I'm going, no wait, let me grab a vehicle quickly. I didn't see a bunch of guys jumping out behind me, so it's safer. So I'm going down there, quickly grabbing this. But then I still, as you can see, I still have a nice, then I have to turn off the fucking, metal playing in the car. But I got a bit of a distance to drive to get there. But yeah, this gives me, just a chance to talk about the fact that essentially what you're trying to do here, even though you got guns and everything like that, you're just trying to do like avoidance here, right? So you're trying to avoid any gunfights. Don't try to drive guys down with your fucking car. Don't get locked into gunfights, because again, we're trying to go for time efficiency and do it as quick as possible, right? So then when as I'm getting closer to this now, this essentially is just me, basically making my way towards it. You'll see I go in, grab it, then you'll see it gives you a certain amount of time. It's usually 2 minutes, and in those 2 minutes you have to make it to that icon. So you'll notice I'm just driving, I'm just going there. Now just sometimes you'll encounter like not a single fucking soul for the entire game, and you won't see anybody, right? Other times it'll be hectic, and you'll have several squads, sort of tailing you. I've had guys, that maybe figured out what I was doing and was constantly fucking chasing me because they knew I was solo. So wherever I would die, I would drop in right above. So they were constantly sort of chasing me and trying to fucking lock me off and take my fucking money. So anyway, you'll just see as I'm going through here, in some cases you'll see even if that's another player there. So I could have gotten out there, maybe gave him the old fucking rocket launcher kiss of death, or fucking threw him with some C4, but we're trying to go for efficiency. We're trying to get as many of these done as possible, right? So yeah, generally speaking, as you're doing these, it's gonna, like, if you start on the outskirts, I've found that sometimes it sort of just sticks on the outskirts and goes around the map when it gives you these. But again, this is completely random, so things could not go your way. It could, make you spawn somewhere else that's terrible. So like here, for instance, I'm looking and I'm seeing, I must have just died there. So I'm seeing, obviously I don't want to fucking go down there. I'm looking for my next one that I can pick up, which happens to be that one. I'm like, okay, cool, I can grab that. I can snake around the side here. Hospital tends to be kind of shitty as well. Not a fan of it. I mean, I love going there when I would fucking murder people, but when I'm doing this, not so much. I can hear some gunfire there in the back, so I'm just gonna run over here and do this. Grab that. I'm gonna go up here. I really want that fucking Land Rover. If I remember correctly, I ran into the perfect reason to explain to you why it's you can get jiggy with it, but I just thought, like, what, let me just pop this guy a bit because he might be too interested in me. Actually, I should have just fucking ran. But anyway, so I'm like, oh, okay, wait, there's a gunfight going on here. Let me pop these guys. That guy. There we go. Take him down. Cool. There's another guy back here. So I'm like, oh shit. Just gotta pop him. Let me get the fuck out of here. Oh, here's a guy. Let me try and kill him. That's fucking embarrassing. But you get my point. So the thing is, I could have just as easily just grabbed the fucking car and got out of there. So the point is that eats up a minute to maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So yeah, you'll still jump out of the sky. The supply run icon might still be available. You might still go get your quest done, your mission done, but you're gonna have less, XP overall for your run, as it is. This one I just come around here, I think. Yeah, so I mean, basically this is just me going through the motions, picking these up. There's a certain point during the match, it's about halfway when the first bunch of choppers come, that a bunch of these missions get refreshed. So you kind of like, I've never had an issue where I've ran out of them, but yeah, it could potentially happen, right? So then I'm breaking my own rules and I'm going into downtown, but the reason I wanted to show this is because here's a perfect example of the avoidance. So I know that this is here. I'm just gonna pop over. I'm gonna grab it. You can hear some guys are fighting inside here. I could be like, yeah, fuck, let me go waste that dude. But I'm just grabbing that, getting my 750 weapon XP, and I'm getting the fuck out. That's 1,500 weapon XP with the double. So here I'm going through the motions. I'm just getting all of these. So now, in terms of efficiency, what we're talking about is, on average, I can do 7 of these in a game. Okay, so 5 of those 7 are going to be the 500 XP ones, right? And then the last 2 in those final, 4 minutes of overtime, you can probably string another 2 of these, maybe 3 of them together, and those are going to be worth 750. Now, if we tally all of that up together, if you're doing 5 times 500, that's 5 times 2 because of the multiplier is 5, and then the 750 times 2 is 1,500, so that's 3,000. So that gives you 8k of XP, right? And that's in, let's say, 10 minutes. It could be 7, it could be 11, but 10's kind of like the ballpark. So at about level 40, the weapons require 2,000 XP per level. So that's 4 levels for every 10 minutes. Now, that's far more efficient. As I said, you can play Shipment and you can have a double weapon XP token and you can pop off and murder like fucking 50 guys in a game, and that's gonna make this XP look not that great. But 4 levels every 10 minutes, and that's, like I said, that's 8,000 XP later on. The first time I did this with the Val, so when you start at level 1, in one of these runs you could do 14 levels. I went from 1 to 14. With the R208, I went from 1 to 17 the first time I did this. So the first 30 levels is essentially basically in 2 games, maybe 2.5 games. And then after that, you need another, 4, 5, maybe 6 games, if you get a kill here and there, something like that, to finish it out. So all in all, you're looking at about 2.5, maybe 3 hours worth of effort, maybe a little bit more per weapon, which is by far quicker than you can do it in any of the game modes that are available right now. And I guess the main clincher here being that if you're a free player, then you only really have access to Warzone, and plunder. So you don't have access to shipment or anything like that to quick level it when it's available. So then you have to turn to something like plunder to do this, and definitely that's where you're going to see your best results. So I hope this helped, anybody that's watching it. I'm sorry that the clip was so long. I did it on the fly. I didn't write a script or anything like that. But if you stuck with me until the end, thank you very much. As I said, I hope it helps you. And please feel free to comment if you have any, if I got anything wrong or if you have some way of making it better. I'm always open to suggestion. But this is something that I've been doing for a while now, and it's really worked really well. I hope it does the same for you. All the best. Have a great evening or morning, wherever you are. Cheers.